All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on? SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. We're back. Free Money Sunday. Obviously, this is a recorded show, so hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. It's the crew you know and expect. Every one of these Sunday Night Football breakdowns, we love breaking these games down, and we got a nice doozy one here tonight, Ham. Buffalo Bills, undefeated Bills, despite their slow start, some might say, to the season, they really ramped it up last game on that primetime slate there. I mean, is there a primetime slate all season that Josh Allen is not a member of? I don't know. That's a test to be dove into and research throughout the season, because it feels like every one of these primetime slates we got Josh Allen. And hey, Bills are coming in on a short week. They played that Monday night game there where they absolutely just went insane. Come to Baltimore, Tambo's neck of the woods up here. But overall, should be a pretty good game here. Bring you in, man. Happy Sunday. How's your week going? I know you just did the main slate breakdown. Loved your takes on there. Dusty Najee season it is today, but not for him, not for myself. We'll see how that plays out. Hopefully everyone's making money out there when they watch the show on playback. But what's going on, brother? Happy Sunday, man.
Yeah, no, happy Sunday. Glad to be here. Yeah, no Najee for me. This is going to be a good real-life game. I wrote it up over on FanDuel, but, man, we got a good game. Two really good quarterbacks. It should be fun. Ravens must-win game. I shouldn't say must-win, but they're 1-2. Bills are undefeated. They need to win it at home. I think the Ravens ultimately come out on top, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be in the captain. So looking forward to breaking it all down this afternoon with you.
Yeah, should be a good game to break down. And yeah, I'll tell you what, 2-2 looks a lot better than 1-3. Obviously, it's only 5 games into the season, 18-week season. But hey, I mean, they don't want to go 1-3 here, especially at home. They had a couple of tough losses there. I know that, but people were high on this Baltimore team coming into the year, right? With the addition of Derrick Henry, Lamar, still got Zay Flowers, Mark Andrew, likely, all that. We're going to talk through and break it down. And then Buffalo, coming off that smash mouth game where they absolutely just put their foot on the throat and just didn't let up the entire game there. It was the vintage Josh Allen looking like the best quarterback in the league thus far this year. Obviously, Jaden Daniels and some of these other guys' performances have something to say about that, but we're going to break it down. I'm going to showcase our stone over here at the Nation, the best tool in all of DFS, and you're going to see why in a second here when I pop it up on the screen. Boom, there we go. You should see that up on the screen. Ham, give the people a little take on, obviously, across these shows, they've seen this tool across our MLB shows, obviously on the main slate show title, and you guys and Hoop just walked through this tool here. But, man, one-stop shop for every single game, all slates, all throughout the year. I mean, you got everything you need from the total on here to projections to ownership to snap percentages to targets. I mean, give the people a take on why this is the best tool in all of DFS across the industry.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, it has literally everything you need, from ownership to projection to pace to you name it. And the beauty of it is, hey, when DGM brought it over, it's all in one place, like you said. So you can get it one place, both sites, literally get every piece of information that you're looking for all in one spot. I mean, I know the people at SHIPIT Nation use it, as the gospel, right? We're here every day that we're, building teams, no matter the sport. So it's a great place to be, especially at the Nation.
Yeah, great place to be. And you can see, obviously, we got it for all sports. Obviously, we got NFL, right? Heart of the NFL season right now. MLB playoffs, we got that covered. That regular season closes up today with 15 games on the docket there. We got a stone for that. MMA, college football, NASCAR. We got it for every single sport, along with all of our other tools. But this is definitely the most important tool. It's been a crazy addition over here this in year 2 of the Nation with DGen and his crew coming over, implementing this in here. And I mean, you see it right here, cash consideration, high upside GPP. That's what we're looking at. And that'll take us into our captain talks here, because you see these cash consideration, usually cash consideration obviously means the quote unquote best plays on paper. Does it play out that way? Obviously, time will tell. Nobody has the picture of the puzzle, like Tambo likes to say, that we see at the end of the slate. If that were the case, it'd be a lot easier to build teams. But we're trying to put ourselves in the best position to build that puzzle appropriately with the pieces that are in front of us. And obviously, you see Josh Allen, Shakir, Lamar Jackson, Bateman, Tucker, all tagged as cash considerations, kind of the 5 best plays, if you will, on the slate. Over here, you look, pace of play, right? Bills play at a D-plus pace, which isn't very good. But guess what? Ravens play at a B pace. Ravens are at home. They should push the pace here a little bit. They are favored. And what's interesting stood out for me is this Ravens pass defense with this Ravens secondary is absolutely abysmal. I got to throw Ham's words in here when we're on the show together. Abysmal. I mean, increase my vocabulary one day at a time here with the old man Ham on the screen. But, man, pass defense an F, rush defense an A. So, hey, let's see how we can use that to our advantage when we're talking captains and breaking it down. And then, obviously, on the flip side, you can run better on the Bills than you can pass from what we've seen. I mean, it's pretty equal, right? B minus C. Overall, Bills defense isn't great, and they should be keeping pace in this game. I think this is a pretty competitive game. I think this goes over the total. I can see a shootout here, but I don't know your take on that because, right, Ravens are going to want to give Derrick Henry the rock. That's how you attack the Bills, at least from this perspective. So I don't know if you have interest in Derrick Henry in the captain position, but captain, obviously, Josh Allen, 16-5, Lamar Jackson, 16-2. Josh Allen, underdog here in this spot. Those two guys are probably the most the highest owned captains, as you can see, right? Lamar Jackson pushing 30% captain ownership right now off the top. Obviously, this is 10:30 on Sunday morning here, so these will change throughout the day. But this is kind of the first look. We're seeing Josh Allen come in about roughly half that ownership there in the captain position. And, hey, he is a road dog here. Talk to me on the captain position. Where are you going? What are you doing with these quarterbacks? What are you doing with these wide receivers who seem to be getting left in the dust outside of Zay Flowers? I mean, Shakir, Coleman, virtually unowned in the captain position here.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, when I'm building my teams, it will start at both of these quarterbacks. And obviously, for most people too, right? They're the most expensive on both sites, and for good reason. They're both running quarterbacks, so we have the rushing upside with both of them, touchdowns, yards. Then they can pass it as well. I think, and my personal opinion is Josh Allen's a little bit a better passer than Lamar. And if you're going strictly by the spread, he's going to be playing from behind, some of the night or most of the night or however you want to slice it. I think Josh Allen's a great play. I have Josh Allen slightly ahead of Lamar. I think Lamar, and I said it last week too, going into that Dallas game, and this is a playoff type game for them, right? You said it. They don't want to go 1-3. They're at home. They had a bad loss to the Raiders earlier in the season. I think Lamar has something to prove, so I definitely like him as well in this spot. I like Josh Allen. The next tier below, kind of a cut below of that, would be Zay Flowers. Definitely my favorite skill position player in this game and for the Ravens. James Cook would be my favorite for the Bills, skill position-wise. We saw it in the Miami Showdown game. He's had 3 touchdowns, so he has potential to do that. If it's not a Josh Allen game, I think the best path for the Bills to win would be James Cook. That's why I like him the most. I'm not going to touch on those other guys, but those would be my top 4 that I would go to. And then number 5, but he would be way down there, would be Shakir for the Bills. But he's kind of he just doesn't have the volume that I don't think. The Bills have too many weapons to spread it around on the outside or in the slot. So it would be those top 4 are going to be where I'm focusing most of my attention.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. I tend to agree with that. Josh Allen's obviously my favorite captain. I do like this ownership is being held in check because you got Lamar Jackson on the slate, who is obviously cheaper. You see these rushes per game. Lamar Jackson's averaging almost 12 rushes per game compared to Josh Allen at 5.5. But from a passing perspective, I think you could see a case here where Josh Allen throws 300+ yards and even rushes in a touchdown or two, kind of like what we saw on that Monday night game, right? Where he lit it up through the air. He's always a threat in the red zone there. So I do like Josh Allen a ton. I think he's sub 20%. I'd like to get over the field on that 20% and actually be underweight on Lamar Jackson here. I'd rather take a shot at the Ravens ancillary pieces like their skill position, because they're just more condensed from your take that you said, right? I mean, the Bills, they got Shakir, they got Coleman, they got Samuel, they got Matt Collins, they got the Dusty Valdez-Scantling that, hey, might get a one home run play a game. If he catches it, probably a high chance he does it. But if he does, he's still there. They got Kincaid, they got Knox, who they're working in. Ty Johnson's getting work. I mean, you saw it on Monday night. What? Josh Allen threw 4 touchdown passes to 4 different players. So from a captain perspective on the Bills, it's really Josh Allen or move on for me, outside of a tournament play in Shakir, who let me sell you on Shakir a little bit. Look at this pass defense for the Ravens. Absolutely abysmal, right? Terrible. They're getting carved through the air. Shakir is 11-4, which is right around that 11-1 kind of sweet spot price point that I love from a captain perspective, because you do have expensive guys you want to play for on the slate, right? Josh Allen's you want to play. Derrick Henry I like. Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Bateman. All those guys are good guys you want to play, especially in the flex. Going Shakir up top, he had 5 targets and 6 targets in the last 2 games. He is their wide receiver number 1. This could be a spot for a breakout Shakir. He obviously has the upside we've seen, 13, 11, and 19. So he has a good floor ceiling combination. You could see a spot here where, hey, maybe Josh Allen just keens in on Shakir, gets this guy heavily involved and stops spreading it around. He would be the only other Bill I really have interest in the captain's position. James Cook, I don't think I want to get to a James Cook game, although we did see James Cook, when they are winning in this game, kind of gets pounded. But if they do fall behind, Ty Johnson's going to come into play. Ray Davis was getting looks. Ray Davis is more kind of the blowout guy, right? The guy when it's kind of out of hand, he's kind of their lead share. Ty Johnson is more their kind of third down back and their pass catching back. So I don't mind a Ty Johnson play in the flex, just because if this game is competitive, if the Ravens at home, right, Derrick Henry gets in, they get up early. Ty Johnson's definitely going to be more involved. So for me, it's a long-winded way of saying I'm Josh Allen or Shakir in the captain spot from the Bills. Flipping over to the Ravens side, I do like Lamar, but I'm going to be underweight. 30% ownership on him. I'd much rather just spread that and cut that and just go right to Josh Allen. Give me more Josh Allen shares, because obviously you kind of got to pick one or the other, especially in 20 max stuff. It's pretty hard to play both these guys, and you're going to have to kind of match the field on one of them, unless you literally just run those 2 as captains, which I think you could do. But for me, I'm going to be under on Lamar Jackson in the captain position. And then take some chances with I think Derrick Henry's an interesting play here, because guess what? Derrick Henry's direct leverage right off of Lamar Jackson, right? If Lamar Jackson isn't rushing him in at the goal line with those 12 rushes per game, why can't Derrick Henry in this game where the Bills do give it up yards on the ground all season so far this year? We've seen, why can't this be a vintage Derrick Henry game? Right. I know it's not December. I know it's not snow. I know he's not out there with his snowshoes on and trucking through. But hey, it's almost October here. I don't think in a must-win game for Baltimore, why they don't rely heavily on some Derrick Henry here at home in this game. So I don't mind Derrick Henry in the captain's position. I don't think he gets much ownership. We're showing sub 10%. I think it's actually lower than that. So for me, he's probably my favorite Ravens captain. And then I do like Zay Flowers as well. I'm not going to mess with the Mark Andrews and Likely. It's just, Mark Andrews just looks like absolute dust. 2 targets, under 3 targets per game. Likely is their guy that I think has more talent. I think they like this guy much more in the passing game. So for me, I'm definitely Likely over Andrews. But for me, captain is going to be very centralized around Josh Allen, Shakir, Derrick Henry, and Zay Flowers is kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I was going to talk Andrews, and I'm with you there. I don't know I don't know if he's hurt or what, but I think they threw it to him one time late in the game last week. He played 30-40% of the snaps, something crazy. So no thank you there. And it's not Hembry yet, but I'm not on Henry in the captain. He doesn't catch many passes. He caught 1 last week. And I think this is a different type game than it was last week with the Cowboys. They got up in the first quarter, never really had a pass, so they just fed Derrick, 25 times in that game. I think he's got to get in the box twice in order to pay off and be on the winner. I just don't think it's going to be that type of game personally tonight. So no Henry for me in the captain, but we'll talk flex and certainly have a little bit of love for him in the flex spot.
I just think this is a leverage play because, Henry obviously showed a ceiling. it is a different game. But I mean, like I said, I mean, this could be a spot. Everybody in the whole industry is going to be massive on these Bills because guess what? What happens huge in DFS, Ham, is what? Recency bias, right? Everybody just saw these Bills just absolutely look like the greatest team in the NFL. Nobody can touch these guys on Monday night. It's a short week coming into Baltimore in a must-win game. Baltimore's a physical football team. I mean, I could see this spot be a Derrick Henry spot. That's all I'm going to say. If you do think the game goes more Bills heavy, I would give a bump to Justice Hill, not in the captain spot or anything, because Justice Hill is more the receiving back, right? Gets work in there, but I still think this is a Derrick Henry spot, must-win game. Obviously, saw them rely on him last week. He got the job done. I like him quite a bit, and it's direct leverage right off of that massive chalk, Lamar Jackson captain. If Lamar's not there and he doesn't get there, guess what? It's got to be Derrick Henry likely stealing those rushes at the goal line to cap that upside of a Lamar Jackson. So for me, that's a take that I'm interested in here. But I think we hit the captain pretty good. Obviously, you see our captain leverage positions here. Derrick Henry showing some positive leverage in the captain position, right? Kind of the same story, right? Lamar Jackson, negative captain leverage. We have him about 28% right now at this point. He hits the optimal at about 25%. Obviously, there's some leverage there going to a guy like Derrick Henry. So that's all I'm going to say there. Same thing with Shakir. So I do like those two plays quite a bit. Shakir, Derrick Henry, and Zay Flowers quite a bit in the captain position. And then obviously it's team Josh Allen for me over Lamar Jackson. Let's jump and talk flex here. And, man, kickers. We got to talk kickers. We got to talk defenses. That's usually the point we start at in the flex because that's a big conversation. I mean, Tyler Bass, 4,800. Bills D, 4K. Justin Tucker, 5K. Ravens D, 3,600. I mean, Justin Tucker, he's missed some field goals this year, which is not usually in his vocabulary, but he is one of the best kickers we've seen in all time in NFL history. What are you going to do with these kickers and defenses? Obviously, Justin Tucker is my preferred guy. Usually, I just like his ceiling. I usually like the home kicker better. Obviously, they're favored as well. I usually like the favored kickers, but both these guys are good kickers. Tyler Bass is no slouch by any means. You could see a spot where these guys move the ball and start kicking field goals, and we've seen it how many times this year, Ham, which they get down there, they stall out, and guess what? The first drive of the game, they kick a 50-yard field goal. That's 5 points right off the helm for these kickers. Talk to me on kickers' defenses. What are you going to do with those guys?
We may have back-to-back kicker optimals after Greg the Leg Joseph on Thursday night. But, yeah, man, you said it. Tucker's missed 3 field goals in 3 games already, which is very un-Tucker-esque. Still one of the most clutch kickers. I think both kickers are in plays similar to Thursday night. And the reason I like them is because the skill guys for the Ravens aren't that good. So who are you going to pick there? And then, conversely on the Bills side, I do like their skill guys better, but it's like, who am I going to pick out of there? I mean, Matt Collins, I don't really want to play. Dawson Knox, I want to play. Your boy MVS, I don't want to play. Now, granted, they are a little bit cheaper, but I would focus on the kickers. Are we moving to other flex options that we like as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to hit on the kickers and the Ds right away, just because number one, I think Tyler Bass is going to come in under-owned in terms of compared to Justin Tucker. He's also cheaper. And look at last week. I mean, Tyler Bass still scored 12 fantasy points last week, and it seemed like they found the end zone every drive, right? They scored 47 points, and he still had 12. Even the weeks, I mean, they scored 30, 34, 31, 47. He hasn't scored below 8 fantasy points all year long, whereas Justin Tucker has only scored over 8 fantasy points once, right? And ownership's going to go to him. Tyler Bass is, lower owned. He's cheaper. And to your point, these Bills guys is Russian roulette, right? I mean, you got Curtis Samuel, you got Matt Collins, you got Keon Coleman, who's a red zone guy that gets targets there. You got the Ty Johnsons, the James Cook, mind you, Dawson Knox and Kincaid both getting work. I mean, maybe we just go more condensed on the Bills and say, hey, it's Josh Allen, it's Tyler Bass that are scoring. And then, I mean, if you want to burn lineups and figure out the Russian roulette of Shakir, Coleman, Samuel, the rest of the Kincaids, the Dawson Knox of the world. So I like Tyler Bass quite a bit here. Justin Tucker has got the household name, right? Everybody knows Justin Tucker. Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer here. I mean, the dude's an absolute monster. He has a leg. He scored. I think he averaged like 12 or 13 fantasy points last season. But it's just maybe he's getting older. He's missing kicks now. And I think it was an interesting point to start on because, I mean, we just saw Greg the Leg Joseph when everybody was on Brandon Aubrey. On the other side of that game, the cheaper kicker, Greg Joseph, got the job done and basically scored all of the Giants' points there. So I thought that was a good talking point there for sure. But, yeah, let's move on to the other flex positions as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time on the show. It's like, how are you going to build your teams? And if you're going to build a Bills game-winning script, I really like Justice Hill in this matchup tonight at only $5,400. We saw it in week 1 against the Chiefs. If they get behind, he's going to be the back. They're going to get him some targets, and those catches can rack up very quickly on DraftKings. So at that price, if you're building a game script of where they get behind, I certainly don't mind Justice Hill, $5,400. Zay Flowers is right smack dab in the middle of the equation for me. I like Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers in the first 2 weeks had back-to-back double-digit target games, was very quiet last week. And once again, they didn't have to pass it after the first quarter. I think they'll have to pass it more tonight. So that's why I like Zay Flowers. I think he gets back to that alpha role where they're feeding him the rock. Same thing with Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid, they really haven't featured him this year, but quite frankly, they really haven't had to. Outside of week 1, they really haven't been pushed, and I think they will tonight. We saw what he did last week. I think he caught the first or second touchdown from Josh Allen. I think Kincaid at $7,200, very good. I am out on Keon Coleman. Interested to hear your take. I do think he has tons of upside, but it sounds like he can't show up on time. He's fallen behind Matt Collins and MVS as it comes to playing time. Interested to hear your take. So I'm out on Keon Coleman. Same thing with Isaiah Likely. I don't think I'm going to get to much Isaiah Likely. He had a really good week 1 and broke the internet with how well he did, but hasn't done much since then. I do like both kickers, as we alluded to. Interested to hear your take on some of these lower end wide receivers, Curtis Samuel, Aguilar, people like that. I think for me, I think Curtis Samuel has the most upside. He doesn't play a whole ton or hasn't, but I think he's a weapon. They obviously signed him for a reason. He can run it a little bit, catch it out of the slot. I wouldn't mind him down there in that range. Interested to hear your take on all those guys as well.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. I'm with you on Keon Coleman. We got him tagged as blue. I think I'd actually move that blue tag to Matt Collins. Looking at the snaps last week, Keon Coleman played the 4th most snaps in the wide receiver room and basically contested Curtis Samuel for equal snaps. He played 36% of the snaps. And, I mean, I think what hurts him is I think this is a Dalton Kincaid game. Look at the last 2 weeks. This Baltimore team's gotten absolutely carved up through the air by the tight end position. Ferguson just went off last week against them, scored 15.5 fantasy points. Week before that, Brock Bowers put the league on notice, right, in that game. And guess who it was against? It was against these Baltimore Ravens. I think this is a smash spot for Dalton Kincaid. I think this is a breakout spot. I think Josh Allen, it's Josh Allen, it's Shakir. I like some Matt Collins and Curtis Samuel and Kincaid. That's kind of the offense for me on the Bills side, what I'm looking at. And then obviously Tyler Bass. I'm under on James Cook. I'm under on Ty Johnson and those guys. I think Curtis Samuel is the safety blanket, right? We saw that last week. He's getting targets and dump offs, right? And I think Dalton Kincaid is the red zone guy, which strictly hurts Keon Coleman. Where has Keon Coleman been involved? I mean, the reason he scored fantasy points is because he caught a touchdown, right? And he's the red zone guy. I think that shifts to Dalton Kincaid, and I think this is a breakout spot for Dalton Kincaid. Absolutely love him. I don't know from a captain perspective if he has the upside, just because I think it's so focused around Josh Allen. And then if I were to take a shot, it'd be a Shakir. But Kincaid could be like a 150 max. I think captain potential. We haven't seen a tight end captain optimal yet outside of Likely in the first game of the year. I mean, you think back last season, Ham, it was what? The tight end captain optimal's season, I guess, right? Everybody was playing these tight ends in the captain position. This could be a good buy low spot on Kincaid. Really like him a ton in the flex. And then on the Ravens side, I agree with you. If you do believe the Bills kind of roll in this game, I think Justice Hill is a great play. I mean, he's splitting snaps dead down the center, 50% of the snaps. Obviously, you see his you see his targets per game right here at 3.3. He's getting about 3 or 4 carries a game as well, and he's 5,400. I think that's a great play because guess what? He's right there in that range of Justin Tucker. He's in that range of Tyler Bass. He's a little bit more expensive than those defenses, and guess what? He's also cheaper than Keon Coleman, who's going to get ownership. Curtis Samuel is obviously going to pick up some ownership. So he's kind of sandwiched in the middle there. So I like him quite a bit. I'm with you on Zay Flowers. Absolutely love Zay Flowers here. That Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson stack is no joke. We've seen it through the first two weeks of the season. Obviously, last week was a different game script where Henry kind of got the job done, and we saw the vintage Henry work. I think this could be a spot where Zay Flowers comes back because I do think this game is back and forth. I like more passing in this game. I think the Ravens keep it close, and I like the game to go over the total. So naturally, I just like the passing more as well. But yeah, I mean, I think we broke down the flex pretty good. I'm with you though. Keon Coleman, I'd much rather go to Matt Collins or Curtis Samuel. Who, hey, guess how many snaps Matt Collins played last week? He played 82% of the snaps last week. He's 2K on this slate. He's showing very low ownership. I mean, we got him sub 10% owned, and the dude is playing 85% plus of the snaps here. He's running routes. He's getting targets. I mean, I don't mind it, right? So I do think he's a pretty interesting value play. That takes us into the other value plays on the slate. Kind of group these ranges. I mean, we'll go Curtis Samuel right there in that range, 3,400. Matt Collins is at 2K. You got Dawson Knox at 1,600. And then on the Ravens side, I mean, really you don't have any value plays because Hardy and Wallace aren't in play really at all. There's realistically no value on the Ravens. All the value comes on the Bills side. So talk about how you want to approach that. I do think if Josh Allen captain builds, a lot of those value plays on the Bills kind of get filtered in, which obviously makes sense. Don't really think you can take any shots on any of these Ravens guys, at least myself. I'm not going to these value guys because the Ravens are just much more condensed from an offensive perspective. But what do you think on these Bills value guys?
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to get to those value guys. I would say Knox maybe. I mean, you talked about Bowers, right? If you're not playing Kincaid, maybe it's Knox. Maybe they get him involved a little bit more. But it would be Knox and Samuel would kind of be my favorite two down there. I mean, Hollins is more, he plays a bunch. He does a lot of wind sprints and blocking. So could he pop off in one game? Absolutely. MVS, I think they threw a bomb to him in week 2 or 3 and it didn't connect. But, if they hit that home run, he might be on the optimal. But it's Curtis Samuel and Dawson Knox would be my favorite too, if we're getting down there in the cheap range.
Yeah, so I'm just pulling up Matt Collins here. He's getting red zone snaps and he's getting red zone looks. I mean, the dude is 6'4", same height as Keon Coleman. He's a big red zone target, and I mean, you saw in week 1 he did get the two catches, the 2 targets, caught them both, and did score that touchdown. And at 2K on a slate where it's very top heavy, I think Matt Collins is a pretty good value play. He's probably my favorite value play when you're talking below like the defenses. I think Matt Collins is my favorite guy, and I just don't think many people are going down there. As obviously right now, as you see the flex ownership sub 10% there. I like him more than defenses in this game. So I'm going to be under on defenses. Kind of just the approach. If defenses beat me, it's just I'm not going to have a good night. That's just how it goes because I just hate playing defenses in these showdowns. I think too many people play these guys and burn teams on them, and it's just so hard. Yeah, they start with 10 points, but man, they lose points quickly, and unless they're getting turnovers and fall into a pick six or a strip sack, it's just hard. And I'm going to take a shot at a guy that's a big red zone target and is also direct leverage off of me being underweight on a Keon Coleman. If Keon Coleman's not getting it there, which obviously the field and the ownership's kind of going there, I think Matt Collins is a good reason. Same with Dalton Kincaid there. So that's pretty much all I have to say on the value perspective. Overall, I'm going to be more 4-2 and 3-3 build focused here. I don't think really this is a game where I look at a 5-1 script. But do you have any takes on that as we kind of round out the show here?
Yeah, I don't foresee any 5-1s or 1-5s. I think it's going to be more 3-3 / 4-2. I wouldn't hate a 2-4. I personally think the Bills would win, right? Like you said, there's no way that they lose to the Ravens after what they did Monday night. So I'm in that camp. I just think they're a better team overall. I do like the Bills to win. And so I'll have a lot of Josh Allen captain, and then I'll have some Lamar captain. I think those are my favorite two for tonight.
Yeah, so I mean, my favorite two captains are Josh Allen for sure, and then I think my low owned kind of off the wall captain is going to be Dalton Kincaid. I just like this spot a ton for Dalton Kincaid, and he doesn't need to be the highest scoring player in the captain because guess what? We just talked about value. Value is trash on the slate. He allows you to spend up and fill out your flex positions with more of these higher priced guys that kind of have the ceiling that you want to play for. So he's going to be my off the wall captain. As always, we appreciate everybody watching the show. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, helps us out a ton. And down in the comment section, drop your favorite captains, drop your score predictions, see if we can keep this segment going with Tambo and the crew on. Is it an over slate? Who's going to win? Over, under, Bills or the Ravens? Is it going to go over or under the total? Who's your pick? And then drop your captains down there as well. But more importantly, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. We're on our drive for 9,000 subscribers. We're almost there. And once we get to 10K, it's going to be a massive party here for a couple lucky people out there that subscribe to us and support us, keeping these shows free for everybody. But good luck tonight in those contests. For Hamwich, I'm Nadesify. We'll see you guys next time. Let's ship it.